Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a quick vlog here. We're not going to keep it too long. I kind of personally thought I'd try something different for a while, and I don't think this is going to be a permanent thing, but instead of trying to pump a video out on products all the time, which I am mass producing videos, it's just the problem is when it's not the video making that's so tedious, it's the editing and a lot of going through and just kind of tweaking it just so that takes a lot of time, and then the uploading process because I was classes if it wasn't for the fact that I kept getting cut off from the video conference, I wouldn't be doing a stream right now. But I was having so many technical difficulties running the stream through the college that I'm doing class through that it nearly made it impossible. And then I tried to do it over the phone, but since I put a smart meter on this building, I've been having a lot of issues with a lot of interference. Sometimes the lights will even flutter. You can't see it now, but if you got a lot of wireless stuff going at once, I don't know if that has a lot to do with why the lights are. It is all lit lighting in here. The only lights that are incandescent are the lights in the basement, and I'm assuming the lights upstairs are incandescent, and then the lights in the back room are probably incandescent. But so even though we're not using much energy, but I think I'll give Wisconsin Public Service a call and see if they can exchange out my meter for either an analog meter or just give me another meter that actually works without causing interference or voltage drops or spikes. Because I sort of had to hook everything up to a battery backup unit because power in here has been kind of unstable since the meter. And the other meter that was on the old mechanical style with the rotary dial style numbers inside, that worked just fine. But I believe at one point in time, the electric company put the power, or redid the power on the west side of the building, but previously it was on the east side towards the back end of the building. Because I think I probably gave the history of this place already, but we'll kind of get into it. Originally, I'm not going to name the names of the owners or the past people that owned the building, but back in like the late 30s, early 40s, this couple from the Cato, Taos area, or actually, I don't even think they were from Cato or Taos. I think they were from Manitowoc, or maybe somewhere around Two Creeks or somewhere around, or Two Rivers maybe. But they had jobs or something. I believe they were college graduates, and they kind of had the thought of opening a small hometown style grocery store and butcher shop and a barber shop next door there. Not in a different building, but it's in the next room over. So originally this was a grocery store, but unfortunately I don't have any pictures of what it looked like as a running grocery store. But the grocery store started out in the early 40s. I think the wood paneling wall that's back there, I think that was put up in later years because I think that the store extended into the back. I think there may have been a meat freezer back there at one point in time. I know it was cold storage back there, but from some of the locals around Whitelaw were saying that when they remember coming in here when they were kids, and in the back area on one side were basically like storage lockers, except you can rent these freezers out. And I know down in the basement there, you go in to the east side there through the back, and they got all the old. But the only thing is, the refrigeration system hasn't ran in almost, I'd say 50, 60 years. Because by 1960, I'd say by 1970, the grocery store folded. Because there's another grocery store up the street there, or the used to be known as the Whitelaw Sausage Company, and then they had groceries there at a full-blown meat market, and they had really exceptional meat. It was there up until 2011 is when it kind of went out of business. Oh, what happened was there was a storm that came through in one Friday afternoon or something. All of a sudden, the freezers somehow got electrified or something, and it destroyed. There was a surge in electricity or something, and it destroyed all the freezers in the building. So none of the freezers work. So that you're probably talking, if you want to make that a full-blown meat market again, you would want to definitely have at least to successfully renovate that whole building down the street. You'd probably want about $500,000, because the freezers alone, you're probably talking maybe $150,000 to redo the whole system, plus put new coolers and display cases in, and then all the electrical. There's probably a lot of knob and tube that's got to get replaced in there, cloth covered Romex wiring, and then there might be plumbing issues and stuff, but that's not really the main reason why I'm talking about this. But it's just the point I brought up was when that became the sausage company. That's the reason that this place folded, was because they had groceries they had even a bigger grocery store than this place was. But I kind of wish I would have been here before they walled that off to kind of see what that looked like. Because then after it folded being a store, they still had the barber shop for a while. I think the husband was the barber, and the wife ran the store. And the original floor is still here yet. They got carpeted over probably back in 2000, I would say 2013. Because prior to that, it never had carpeting, but the last tenant that was in here put carpeting. I do have pictures. I just have to of what it looked like when I first moved in here, of just this room, the next room over, or the barber shop area. But as far as the living quarters upstairs, I honestly don't know what that looks like. Or I vaguely probably remember the back room there, because the people that currently own the building, I'd say about 15 years ago, maybe 16 or 14 years ago, somewhere in that time era, they had a huge rummage sale in here. And all these shelves that are here, the landlady that currently I rent from, she had all sorts of interesting stuff in here. And then the back, Basically, it looked like it did up front, except it didn't have as many windows. There's only like 3 windows in the back of the building, all in this east corner here. There's one window before on one side of the door, and then there's 2 windows on the corner of the building. And as far as the other side of the building, in that back area, there's no windows. So I'm thinking that was the storage lockers. And I vaguely remember what that looked like. But that's not really the important part. But as far as the history on this place, I don't really have a lot to go by other than just what people have been telling me. And then once the husband and wife call it quits doing the store, they decided to rent the 2 front rooms out here. This side, I don't think they rented it for a while. But then for a while, there's another barber that was renting in there. That was probably sometime in their early 70s or 60s. Actually, no, wait, I'm trying to think. Because at some point in time, this was what used to be the village hall. I'm thinking maybe this room was for a while. Because in 1958, that's when Whitelaw became a corporation or incorporated. Because they had the village office here, and then they had the post office. But prior to that, it wasn't. And then sometime in the 60s, they had made water or public utilities instead of having septic tanks. But yeah, there wasn't a lot in here, but yeah, the building wasn't vacant all that often. Because the people that owned it, they lived upstairs in the one large apartment up there. If a person really wanted to, they could actually make that like at least a two apartment unit. But then again, you would have to redo the entire electrical system in the basement because you'd need like a 400 amp panel, or yeah, you'd need at least 400 amps because theoretically each room should have its own, or each apartment should have its own breaker panel. So when this place will ever become or ever get remodeled, but I think it's pretty much just going to stay the way it is. There's a few things I would like to see done in here, personally. I'd like to see, landlord's not going to go with this, I know that, but new windows for the front, or double paned windows instead of the single paned. Something that's more energy efficient, because when it kind of gets cold in here during the winter time, and problem with all the shrink wrap or the heat shrink plastic crap that you put on the windows, it kind of got brittle on me. That only lasted like the first month, and it started cracking and got all hard. And I was thinking, wow, that was kind of a waste, especially on the outside storm door, because it's doesn't actually have glass that goes in. It's just a screen. Ever renovate it, you just use it the way it is, and then just throw duct tape over things. I have to admit, it is a very charming building. It'd be interesting to actually see what it looks like to this day and the rest of it. I know the color that's in this room, I painted over the theme that was in here before. It was like a hideous orange and a hideous green. was, I would have to say it's like a burnt orange and an avocado green, but I can tell you that it was definitely not a 50s combination. It looked like it was something that was painted prior to, it may have been even like that before the last tenant moved in, but my goal was to make it turned out kind of crappy. It was the ceiling. When I painted that, the ceiling kind of absorbed the paint. So like after about 3 coats, I kind of gave up on it. So and then other part of the other major problem was there was no lighting in here. Just a ceiling fan with 240-watt bulbs, and that's the maximum the fan would take. And then back over, that's not the original fixture up in the ceiling. I put that one up. The original one only had like a 40-watt LED bulb. And I thought, how can you work in here with only 40 watts? And so I have, Walmart has some really cheap garage style fixtures that's, I think they're only like $9 a piece or 10 a piece. So I bought 3. Unbeknownst to me, I bought one for like $1.67 cheaper, but it's slightly smaller than the other 2. It's not a big deal. It's just the consistency of lighting doesn't exactly match. So what I did, it might have been glass, but instead of them fixing it, they just boarded it up. I guess that was a cheaper option than the fix it or whatever was wrong up there. So I just, in that kind of cove type area, got the lights installed. Unfortunately, there were not enough receptacles, so I had to resort to a power strip. But they don't stay on all the time anyway. Each one only uses like 1.2 watts. And try to respect everybody's wishes of keeping, you're using as little power as possible. But at night, you got to have the lights on to work. It's kind of hard to sit in total darkness and work. But other than my exit sign probably sucks a lot of electricity. But so be it there. And then picked up a couple of shop lights. I got one, bought that one dirt cheap. And then the other one hanging over the window there, I found that at a yard sale for dirt cheap. Then added a couple of desk lamps. In between that, it's okay. I would prefer overhead lighting. Like get a couple of 4-tubed or TA fluorescent style, but with LED style fixtures up here. I don't really, the ceiling fan that's here, it's okay, but whoever, that was the last tenant put that up. I would have preferred one where the bulbs shine down, like a 4-bulb fixture, instead of this wonky Christmas style, C6 style light bulbs that go in there. I don't know what his logical thinking was. I think it was kind of dumb to go with something like that. I would assume, I'm not a dark bronze guy anyway. I like my gold and silver chromed or silver plated light fixtures or gold plated. I don't know if it's an 80s and 90s thing, but it looks better. It's brighter. It's not so dark. This is not a goth building in any means. It's got its own quirks. It's kind of got its charm. You just got to look in the right places. Nothing's really perfect here, but you got to make the light of it and that. But then, yeah, that was village office in here for, I was up until about 98. And then once they built a new village hall, then they pulled out of here. But then I think there's some furniture business in here for a while. And then there was somebody that did arts and crafts was in here for a while. She was in here for a little over a decade. Furniture thing I think was like in the 70s into 80s in this room. And then the arts and crafts was like 90s into like maybe 2006 or 2007. And then there was some lawyer, once that room quit being used, there was some paralegal person that was working out of there back in 2006, I believe. And she wasn't happy with it, and the landlord said, well, sorry you feel that way, but you don't have to do quirky or, but I figure, well, beggars can't be choosers. I think she ended up going either Green Bay or Appleton, but it's more expensive in the big city than it is around here. And then there was a beautician that came in here probably back in, say, maybe 2010 or 2009, and she was in here up until last year. I think that was up until February. And funny story about she painted that room probably 10 times, different colors, different. As I found pictures online of when it was a business in there, and it showed it had like white polka dots on black and gray walls and different teal blue and pink and red and white and orange, and it just kind of baffled me that you would paint the walls in so many colors. If I took over that room, if I got a rent agreement lease for that room, I'd paint everything white in there. I'd take down the goofy black fixtures, get some gold plated fixtures, maybe put, because she put chandeliers up in there. She had two different chandeliers in the ceiling, and then she had two light fixtures facing down the vanity. And actually, lighting in there is pretty decent. But then the bathroom, I would get rid of the hideous purple, and then just totally paint that all just off white. I think in the bathroom, I do a semi-gloss, because all these walls here, I just painted them in eggshell, except for in between the shelves, I did that semi-gloss. I probably should have done everything in flat white. Well, the shelves I didn't do in flat white because I wanted, in case something got spilt on it or something stained it, that I could clean them easily. And there has been times that stuff leaked like battery acid, and I was sure it ate the paint off, but I was able to touch it up pretty quick. So it's kind of interesting. Just to even do a paint job, it's not that expensive. I think it only costs about $125 just to paint this room. So I went through about 4 gallons of semi-gloss and 4 gallons of eggshell. So can't really complain there. And like even the furniture and stuff, like this tables that I use as my desk, I found at a yard sale. It's basically a butcher block table. It came with 2 chairs. And when all the Shopko stores were closing, A lot of stuff that I got in here, furniture-wise. Got a couple more chairs that were from the liquidation. Refrigerator, microwave, uh, some totes. The only thing that didn't come from the liquidation were the plastic tables, but those were on sale at Fleet Farm. I think they're like $39 a piece for 12-foot. I think those are 6-foot tables. So like one is kind of falling apart already, but it's just the plastic around the edging of the table. I'm not sure why it got that way, or if it was just a defect in the manufacturing. I could have taken it back, but I thought, nobody's going to notice. Other than I'm the only one that'll notice it. But and then other than the service carts, I got those new, but unfortunately, when I planned this all out, nothing quite fell into place the way I planned it. I kind of figured by now I would actually be open 9 to 5 every day of the week, except for Sunday. And I thought that I would have a lot of customers in and out of here, but that didn't quite pan out that way. It kind of, from like, let's say you start out at 7 a.m. and you're done by 10 p.m. and you don't make a sale for an entire week. The thing is, you still got to have another source of income to fall back on to keep this place going. So if you don't get any sales for sometimes when you stretch yourself out so thin, doing like 2 jobs or something just to keep your business afloat, it kind of wears you down. And then when you do get people in, you don't really give everything your all because you're worn out from doing grungy work and stuff like that. But originally, the business I'm doing now, I was originally working out of the back of a 2000 Plymouth Neon, and it was all fine and good. But a car is not really user friendly for repairing computers. It was interesting. And on top of that, I use a car for others' work for work and stuff. So I had all my work stuff in there, and it looked like for a while, towards the end, before I got this place, it looked like I was actually living out of the car because I had so much stuff in there for work. Between the trunk was packed tight with work stuff, the back seats were packed tight, the passenger seat. Actually, it's kind of scary with all the stuff I had in there. But it's not really good practice to do, not when you're trying to run a business, because people get the assumption that you're homeless when you got so much stuff in your car. Most typical people, they don't keep anything in their cars other than a pair of jumper cables and an umbrella and maybe a $1.05 and change in your cup holder and maybe a pack of gum or something or some CDs. But that's about it. That's all I have. Power steering fluid, brake fluid, coolant, windshield wiper fluid. Carry some WD-40, maybe some duct tape in case your mirror or something breaks off or something and you want to tape it back on, you could. Not as a permanent fix, but just until you got to a garage or something. And then it's nice to have a spare tire in your vehicle, not just one of them cheap 50-mile spares that are only good for up to 50 miles. But a full-size spare would be nice to have. And then you'd want to make sure that you have rags and stuff in case you spill something, so you can clean it up. But as far as other stuff, now if you have a service van or something, you can pull it off. Like, you don't even need a full-size contractor's van. You don't need like a big Chevy van or a Ford Connect or Transit Connect or a Dodge ProMaster or even one of those Nissan utility vans. All you need is a simple, get yourself an old Dodge Caravan from like 2001 or 2000 or 1990s, or even something newer like a 2007, 2008. Or you could even go with Grand Caravan, depending on. All you'd have to do is go down to like your Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards or Fleet Farm or Walmart or Myers, any home improvement store like Ace, maybe a mom and pop style home improvement store in your hometown or something, and just buy some plastic shelving. And even if you got to cut it so you got to have a little bit of room on top, what you want to do is anchor it down to the floor, not physically drilling a hole through the bottom of the vehicle and anchoring it that way, because you'll get spiders and crap crawling up in between the hole and the bolt, or bats or rats or mice. So you don't want that. But maybe even just kind of somehow fasten it to the inside and just custom fit the shell or cut the pipes to fit the shells in a certain fashion. So like if you got certain sizes Tupperware boxes or toolbox or parts or something, that you can make it fit customary. And if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a fancy way of securing everything to the shelves, you just get some bungee cords. That would work too. But if you go down like to the trade shows and stuff, or the auto show, and you look at contractor utility vans, they really got some nice setup. But by the time you get done spending all that money on, you're almost spending like almost $50,000 for a service van, or you can just buy an old Dodge Caravan or Grand Caravan from early 2000s for less than $5,000. But preferably, you'd want something that's not rusted out. You'd want something that's in mint condition. Doesn't have to be scratch free, but you want something that looks representable, but yet something practical. And typically, and if you didn't want to go the Dodge Caravan route, you could go like Ford Aerostars, Windstars, 3 Stars, or Super Stars, or the Chevy Venture, or the Uplander van. They don't make those anymore, so if you can, or the Pontiac or whatever Pontiac version that was available, or Oldsmobile, or if you wanted a Mercury van, or if you don't like American vehicles, you could go a Honda, or you can go a Toyota or Nissan, or you could go Mazda, or you could go the European route of Volkswagen. It doesn't matter what kind of van but a lot of those you can pick up, or older ones you can pick up fairly cheap, and a lot of them are pretty much reliable. As long as you take good care of it, you do your regular oil changes, and you don't sit and rev it like a race car and drive it hard many, 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 many years to come. If you take very good care of it, you probably get 10 to 20 plus years out of this service van. Now, if you decide to go the route of buying something brand new, you also got to take care of that too. You got to keep up with the maintenance on the vehicles. Don't let stuff go. Make sure that you always keep your vehicles clean. Not only are you trying to present a good image, but you also want to show your customers that you take care of the things that you have. When you ride around in a sloppy, rusted out van that has holes in the floorboard and what does that tell you about yourself? It kind of tells you that, one, I'm just doing this just to make a few bucks. Two, I don't care. Three, I need the extra money. I don't care all that much, but you got to present yourself in a certain way. It's like if you go to a job site wearing jogging pants and a zip-up sweatshirt, it doesn't look pretty good. But if you show up on a job site with dress slacks, nice pair of working tennis shoes or something, polo shirt or something, or flannel shirt or dress shirt or something, or black jeans or tan. But as a contractor, don't show up in jogging pants, because not only I don't take people seriously when they come, or if an agent comes dressed like that to this office even. I hate to say that, but I don't take people like that seriously. Nothing against the person, it's just I kind of got certain expectations when it comes to people. And even if I had employees and they came to work looking like that, I tell them to go home and change it and come back. For real. So, on that note, this actually went about 20 minutes, well, even longer than 20 minutes longer. But it's kind of interesting to try something different for a while. I will be doing other videos. It's just I just got to edit them and get them uploaded now. So, y'all have a good one. God bless. Stay safe. And we'll see you tomorrow.